All right, guys, welcome back to the show. On this week's episode, we are covering Alex Garland's Annihilation, which came out in 2018. It is a science fiction thriller. I don't know. It's a pretty crazy movie, and it's one I honestly was never going to watch, but Jordan recommended it to us.
Yep.
And as my few past picks recently have not been great, it was time to pass the torch.
Yeah, you've definitely been failing.
It's bad, guys. I'm hitting rock bottom. But Jordan did not let us down. This movie was awesome, and I cannot wait to talk about it. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Do you want to start a podcast? Well, now you can, for free. And it's as easy as downloading the new Spotify podcast app to your phone and or computer and hitting record. Spotify Podcasts allows you to record anytime or upload files and provides all the tools you'll need to make your episode sound as solid as stone. Spotify Podcasts is the new home for any podcasters looking to expand their brand and reach new audiences across the globe.
I gotta start off by saying, of course, my coffee is buttered.
Nobody cares, dickhead. Just tell us what the fuck happened in the movie.
I like how you couldn't even be mean without fucking it up. Come on, Dima.
Alright.
Oh, yeah, no, you did it. You did it. It's
Got
fine.
you.
Oh, yeah, Dima. What was I thinking? You're right. I'm a dumbass. Annihilation. Oh, boy. Annihilation. A biologist's husband disappears. She puts her name forward for an expedition into an environmental disaster zone, but does not find what she's expecting. The expedition team is made up of the biologist, an anthropologist, a psychologist, a surveyor, and a linguist. And to add on to what IMDb has here, they find the unexplainable, and even to the end of the movie, I am not sure what I watched. But that's not a bad thing. I think this movie is backed by science and logic that is beyond my understanding.
Yep.
And that is a credit to the man himself, Alex Garland, as he makes brilliant movies. Have you guys seen... what's it called? It's got Oscar Isaac. I think you watched it, Jordan. Where he's like a brilliant scientist making like AI bots out in the woods. What's it called? I'm gonna have to look it up real quick. It's so good.
I've seen Ex Machina.
That's what I'm
that
talking about. Yep. I was gonna say that movie is another testament to
and he creates like a ideal mate for him or whatever, but it's a bot, yeah.
And then it gets out into the world.
Really familiar.
It's really good.
And it plays on a similar theme that's also in this movie where you have something under the skin.
Yeah.
That is all I was thinking of.
Which is also
Especially
another
at the end.
A24 movie. So
did you like my reference to that movie as far as the ending was
yeah,
concerned?
solid. That was dead on.
Like it gave you that same kind of chill.
Oh, yes.
Did you guys
Actually,
like the movie?
Yeah, so we're going to get into that. Let's do ratings. I'm giving this an Eagle. Part 2.
It's the same.
Yeah. It wasn't the best, but it was definitely good for just coming across a Netflix movie.
Yeah, no,
Dude, well, that's what's interesting, because Deem and I have talked about this on past episodes. Netflix movies, no matter what the budget is, who the cast is, they just have a feel to them that feels Netflix-ish. Like, it doesn't feel like you could go watch it in a theater. No. It's almost like a made-for-TV movie vibe.
Right.
With more budget, I guess.
Yeah, Netflix has been hitting different lately.
Because even Extraction, dude, like Chris Hemsworth's a badass.
Yeah.
The action scenes are amazing and everything, but it just feels Netflixy. You know?
They definitely have like a lens in a box, and it just says Netflix, and then they slap that on the cameras real quick.
Yeah.
But this, even though I will have to admit, it almost had that feel.
It's when there's just dialogue.
But
in my opinion, when there's like a scene where the group is talking, that's where it felt the most like that to me. But it wasn't too much to where I was like cringing, you know, but it was like, all right, it's kind of. But I watched a movie the other day I haven't told you guys about. It's called The Gray Man. It's got Chris Evans, Ryan Gosling, and Anna de Armas. I think that's her name. It's the premise is awesome, and I was really excited. It's the new one that has Chris Hemsworth with the mustache. Or not Chris Evans. He has the mustache. Yeah. He's the bad guy in it. Ryan Gosling is a prisoner, and Billy Bob Thornton plays this member of the CIA who recruits people. He basically says, we can take you out of prison and give you a purpose. So they train him to be a CIA agent.
I think I've seen this.
And it sounds badass. And it starts off good. But, dude, as soon as the movie gets rolling, it's just a boring Netflix snoozer that has the budget, it has the cast, but the story's just not there.
Yeah, I see.
And I literally didn't even finish it.
Oh, wow.
I didn't finish it. It was predictable. It was boring. Yep. It was cheeks. So, but it just sucks that all these movies are on Netflix that have like these big names, and I don't even get excited. Like, there's one with Russell Crowe on there right now, and I'm just like, dude, I'm such a big fan of his, and I think it has to do with exorcisms. I can't remember what, like the Pope's Exorcist or something.
Yeah,
I don't even want to watch it. I'm just like,
I'm gonna watch it. See, I'm gonna watch. I don't think that. Is that originally a Netflix film, though? I thought it was in theaters.
Well, I hope it is because I watched the trailer and it looks like a Netflix movie.
We're going to find out real quick.
If not, I might give it a chance. I don't know.
Did you ever get around to watching Trailer Park Boys?
Not yet. I'm
Okay.
going to. Yes. So
That's
Jordan
on Netflix,
recommended
too.
Trailer Park Boys to me as well. And Jordan does not let me down.
It's Sony Pictures.
But the problem is, it's Sony. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a problem, too. Sony's good at putting out crap. Yeah. Like Word in Time. Anyways. But the problem with Trailer Park Boys is I tried to watch it like years ago, and I was watching the first episode, and just like The Office, I was like, this is stupid. But now The Office is one of my favorite shows, so I will watch it. Yeah. I just gotta commit to it. But no, with this movie, Deem and I were talking about this before we started recording. I remember seeing trailers for this and thinking like, okay, Natalie Portman's career is kind of in the shitter. Like, she's been in Marvel movies, and that's kind of like her career's just... So, let's throw her in a trippy sci-fi movie, and that'll get her back on track. That's kind of how it looked to me.
Yeah, it just looked dumb.
And I was like, okay. But really enjoyed this movie.
I did, too.
I was very intrigued. I was constantly wanting to know what the fuck was going on. I had a theory, and I was close, I think, because I really still don't know for sure what's going on. But that's what I like, is this movie is heavily driven on science.
Yeah.
And science is forever growing and forever learning, right? Yeah. So, like, this movie being so heavily based on science can fall in that category, which is brilliant. Because maybe in 10 years when you watch this movie, depending on where modern day science is at, more stuff in this could make sense.
Yeah.
So, it's cool.
With this movie, I'm a big, like, alien, extraterrestrial, coming to Earth movie kind of fan.
Yes.
And I definitely appreciated this movie in the sense that it kind of, like, took on a different perspective of what alien life could be. Mm-hmm. And it reminded me a lot of the movie Arrival. I don't know if you guys have seen that alien movie.
That movie's brilliant, man.
Yeah, it gave me that same kind of vibe, at least starting out, because, like, it hits you with what's going on at the very beginning. Like, okay, we've got this thing here. We need to get our best people on it and figure out what it is. But it's not like what we're used to seeing, like aliens in the sense of, like, they're these human-looking things. They're different. Mm-hmm. And they manipulate our world in a way that we don't understand. And in this movie, it seems to, like, this alien form seems to, like, manipulate cells and mutate the environment around it, which is something that I personally would expect to happen from something like that. Mm-hmm. So it was a really cool take to just begin with.
So I like the whole idea of alien beings coming to our planet and causing change. Just in general, I think that's a cool premise, and like Jordan said, it just makes sense. Like, that's what you would expect to happen. Like, if something has the capability of coming here from wherever it may be out in space, will it not have the technology to change the environment that it lands in to be sustainable for their existence without ours even being considered? You know, like that, I would expect that. And it's not necessarily like them trying to be hostile, but would we take it that way?
Yes.
100%. And I think in this movie, it's not really meant... I don't even know if there's a purpose. Lomax, when he's interrogating her, literally is like, what was the reason? What she's like, I don't know. I don't think it had a reason. I don't even know if it knows that it was alive.
Yeah.
It's just it's something that's there and it's changing things. And I think it's funny. This movie's called Annihilation, and it's because that's how humans would perceive what is happening. It's just going to keep going until everything's annihilated. But it's like, no, it's just changing. It's changing everything around it. But it reminds me of Man of Steel. Because Zack Snyder played very cleverly into this whole, like, aliens coming to Earth, right? So, like, Clark Kent comes from Krypton. Right. And then you're going to have people that also were on Krypton come to Earth wanting to build a new Krypton. But what does that entail? Okay, we need the environment to adapt to us. We don't adapt to the environment. So they have a change machine. It's literally what it's called.
Yeah.
Changes the, physics of the Earth and the environment to sustain Kryptonian life that would eradicate humans.
Yes.
So I just think that's a cool premise that plays throughout movies like this. What did we think about Natalie Portman as the protagonist?
I actually really liked her. I mean, I've always kind of been a fan of Natalie, though.
I used to have the biggest crush on her.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen Black Swan?
I haven't. I've heard really good things about it.
Highly recommend that movie. It's very dark. Very dark, but she also kills it in that movie. Like, it's a really good performance.
But, yeah, I think she did a very, very good job. I'll be honest, though, like, probably the majority of this movie, I wasn't even sure if I liked it, but I definitely was thinking, like, I would need to watch it again just to kind of understand what happened, but I don't know if I liked it. It wasn't until the ending and after I seen everything else where I was like,
there's parts where it gets really weird.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I was very confused a lot.
But here's what was fun for me while watching it, because I was in the same boat with you. Like, I was probably 30 minutes into the movie, and it's when they're getting ready to enter the shimmer. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, we're going to finally get to the juice. And then we just cut to them waking up in a camp in a swamp forest, it looks like. And I'm just like, okay, besides, like, the spectrums of light in the sky looking kind of weird, like, nothing's really changed. And we don't know how they got there because they don't know how they got there. They say, like, yeah, we forgot how we even came in here. Like, last thing we remember is being on the edge of the woods. Yeah. So it's like, okay, is this going to be one of those movies where nothing's explained? It's just them being confused the whole movie? But then it doesn't take too long before we get to the scene with the alligator in the lake.
Which was very fascinating, the way that its DNA changed, where you got your albino gators and stuff, but, like, not only was that thing, like, pasty white, they even mentioned in the movie where its mouth was like a shark's mouth.
Yeah,
like,
shark
it changed
teeth
it
and
so
different
much that it had the rows of teeth going back, which was very interesting.
Well, for me, the movie got interesting because, you have basically, I guess, organisms getting manipulated in some way that we're not sure of at the time. But also, it kind of introduced a horror aspect. Yeah. Because, was it... Who was the one that got pulled into the water?
Naya?
I think it was Naya. Yeah, it was Naya. She gets pulled into that cabin.
Right.
And it's filmed in a way that it kind of happens it's like a jump scare moment.
Yeah.
Because all the camera shots were very steady in this particular scene. Like, so it's like, cut to this person talking, cut to there's not like a moving camera. Right. So we have very stagnant shots, and then in a stagnant shot, we have our focus character getting sucked into it's like, whoa. And then you hear her screaming and all this, and then water splashing. And it's like, what the fuck? And then, like, when they're looking out in the water and you just see the tail, like, slither in, I was like, oh my god, dude, this is creepy.
Yeah, but do we think that was the gator that pulled her in, or was it something else?
No, we'll get into that. We're going to get into that. I've got some theories about this movie.
I feel like that's the thing about this movie is no matter what our theories are, it could be a billion other theories out there. And I think they did a very good job with that, where you have speculations and everybody can have a different idea of what happened throughout the entire movie. And it's not going to ruin the movie any. It's just going to make it more confusing and more to discuss.
I have, like, a structured way to break this movie down. Just to, like, organize our individual thoughts on things. So even if we have different thoughts, we're in the same area of the movie. So this movie has 3 different time placements. We have Area X, which is after the main story of the movie. Like, we cut ahead to Area X several times when she's speaking to Lomax, who's in the spacesuit, that hazmat suit, whatever you want to call it, talking to her. So that's, like, after the main story of the movie. And then we have basically, like, the prequel of the story, which is her and Kane, her husband, who met in the military. They got married. And she got out and became a biologist. He stays in. And that's their relationship. So he has to go away on missions. She ends up cheating on him with a professor that works with her. And
Daniel.
Yes, she does.
And that's a story that's told to us in between the main story, but in a prequel sense of, like, hey, here's, like, what was happening before all this. So we have prequel, main timeline, and then Area X, which, excluding when she gets brought in when Kane gets sick and she calls the ambulance. That is the only time that Area X is somewhat in the main timeline, because that just shows us how she got there. Besides that, it's pretty much broken up between those 3 parts, and we cut to them at different times. One time is very interesting, because it's when we, like, first see her having her relations with
Daniel.
What is his name?
Daniel.
Daniel, yeah, Daniel. So, and I'm just like, where did this come from? But yeah, so I feel like we can talk about these different time periods and how they might correlate to, like, what's going on. My overall theory when it comes to Kane, because that's who I want to start with, Kane's motivations for going, because anyone who goes into the Shimmer, it's voluntary.
Yeah.
So that's important to, like, state, because it's not like the military is sending people in there on a mission. That's already happened, but at this point in the story, people are going in, it's voluntary. And everyone's trying to figure out why the other people are wanting to go in there. Like, everyone knows what their reason is, but they're all worried about, like, okay, what's this person's reason? What's this person's reason?
Yeah.
Whether they have cancer, or they're suicidal, or they just hate their life, or there's general curiosity. Like, everyone's got different motivations. Well, we don't know that she's been cheating on Kane until near the end of the movie.
Correct.
So the whole movie, I think she makes a good protagonist, because everyone else's motivations are laid out for us pretty much right after they're introduced, or not too much longer after they're introduced. But we don't really know what her reason is, because, like, she's made aware of this event that's going on, and she knows that her husband went into it and came out and is not acting the same.
Right.
That's it. So she knows there's this thing. It's weird. People are going into it. They don't come out. He's the first person that did come out, and he's different.
Yes.
And now he's dying. Like, he's got organ failure. Yep. So, multiple organ failure, too. Like, he's just in critical condition. So it's like, why would you look at that and want to go in there? At first, my theory was she's just curious, and she feels like she owes it to him. Because, like, she goes and sees him in the ICU, and she says, like, I know why you went in. I know what I must do. And I'm like, okay, so you're going in there for him, like, to finish his mission. But that's not the case.
See, I took it as, like, when I was at that part, I took it as she, in her head, like, she had to go in to figure out how to cure him. Because then she was thinking there was a cure beyond that line.
That's kind of what I was thinking, too.
So,
I think near the end of the movie, though, I realized that she knew that wasn't her husband
yeah.
from jump. Like, when he comes back, she's asking, where have you been?
Yeah.
You've been gone for over a year. I asked everybody. No one knew where you were. We thought you were dead. Like, and he doesn't have answers. He just says, I don't know. I'm not sure. And very calmly. He doesn't even seem like he's emotionally affected by seeing her after all this time.
Yeah.
And it just tells her, like, this is not my husband.
Yeah.
So I think she sees the way he's acting. She sees this paranormal event.
Yeah.
She knows that he went out and then he's the only one, or he went in and he's the only one that came out. Something happened in there.
Yeah.
So that's like, okay, what happened to my husband? That makes sense.
Right.
And I think she knew, okay, that's not my husband. I'm going to go in there and see what happened to my husband. Which, that's also a big part of this movie that I enjoyed was Kane's story, which is why I wanted to start with him. Because when we find out that she was cheating on Kane, we also find out that Kane was aware of it.
He was.
So that explains Kane's motivation for volunteering to go into the Shimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Because this guy hates his life. For lack of better words, he just doesn't like his life. His marriage has failed. He probably puts blame on himself because he's in the military and has this terrible schedule. He's not home a lot. She has needs that aren't being fulfilled. Because we see from the prequel timeline, they were very happy and compatible together. There wasn't issues between them as a couple.
Right.
In terms of their, like, you know, love language or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just when he's not there, she has needs that aren't being fulfilled, blah, blah, blah. So I think he felt like he deserved to go into this thing, and whatever happens to me, that's what I get. Like, that's kind of his mentality. And the way he's acting in that video camera footage, that dude was lost. Like, he was just ready for the end.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, he was.
well, we'll come back to that. I don't want to jump ahead too far. What would you guys say is the overall idea of this movie? Because that's the other thing we need to establish before we go further. So we've got the timelines, but what do you think the overall idea is?
Man, I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, no, my head already hurts just discussing what we have.
Okay. I'm going to try to put this in words. So we have an alien.
Correct.
We'll just call it alien, which is the Shimmer
Yes.
itself. The big field they enter that's been called the Shimmer is really just its effect on the environment expanding as it is present on Earth. So that is just a part of its existence. But the Shimmer is definitely just the alien. I don't think it has a form. So when we see the Shimmer after Dr. Ventress like erupts into light, and we see its form that, like Jordan said, is very reminiscent of the being in Under the Skin. Mm-hmm. It's just like it's like this, you know? It's like you've got the embodiment of a being, you know, a humanoid with no characteristics or like specific identifying traits.
Right.
You got a flat face, you got a flat body. I think that was just a step in the process of it mimicking like a human being.
Yeah.
But I think before that, when it's just this kind of ball of energy and light moving.
Kind of like Pennywise.
I think that is the being in its raw form.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't really understand the question. So if we're asking like, what do we think the shimmer is?
Yeah, what's...
Okay, I thought you meant like, what is like the plot of this movie?
No,
'cause-
like,
That's
just...
what I was thinking.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
sorry, I should have worded it differently. I guess.
basically, yes. Again, it kind of plays on like the writer of this movie attempting to play on like a different perspective of what we consider to be alien. So like, main thing is I definitely don't think that this thing is conscious. I think it, like you said, it's just a ball of energy that struck the earth, and it's, who knows, it could have been traveling for millions of years and just reached us, and it just manipulates the environment. And the way that it manipulates the environment, as far as the movie shows us, is it kind of like changes DNA, and it changes biology, not plants, animals. I mean, and the way it does that is by duplication, is what it seems like. The way it is really hard to explain.
It is.
The way it interacts with the environment isn't necessarily like it changing it. It attempts to recreate it, but in that process, it kind of like does create something new. Because you can see throughout the movie, like when you have those two deer, like clearly we have a manipulated.
That's all I was thinking of.
Yeah, we've got like some kind of mutated deer here, right? Like some Chernobyl crap or whatever.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
But like, it like didn't stop there. Like its thing is to duplicate, because there were two of them, and they move
in unison. Yep.
And you see that, like, that's like its only way it really can interact with the environment. Like, I don't necessarily think it's like,
it kind of becomes the environment.
Yeah,
for lack of better terms.
Like when it was in danger, right? Like at the end when she was inside where she meets Ventress and she's sitting there like.
But was that Ventress? Do we think?
We don't know.
I got a theory about that.
Like,
this is kind of building up to
the
that.
Shimmer gets desperate, and it seems like its only method of defense is to like recreate whatever it's seeing, which in this case was Lena.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, is like, even she stayed, like, it mimicked me. It wasn't violent, but I attacked it first, and it mimicked. So, but like you said, it's just mimicking.
It did have moments of acting on its own.
It did.
It wasn't, but she did say, like, I'm the one who put that energy out there. Like, I'm the one who first acted. So, like, sometimes it moved differently, or, like, if it's getting up, it's using its hand differently. Yeah. But it's, like, it is trying to figure out how to mimic.
Right, but that's the thing, is, like, it is energy, and energy can be changed to a certain degree.
Yes.
Like, with any energy, taking the light bulbs or, the computer itself.
What'd you just say? Who does?
Oh, we do.
Oh, us as humans?
The humanoids.
Okay. Well, wouldn't you just say that as a race, human beings effectively do what the Shimmer does in this movie to a degree, but not as well, because the Shimmer has a level, I'm not going to say a level of understanding, but it just has a chemistry that affects science in a way that we can't comprehend.
And that's the thing, is like
it is mutating the environment around it almost like a blender. It's like, because that's what I was going to say. I wanted to set up this being's form, which isn't really defined. It's organic, it's flowing, it's just there. It just is. It is just something that exists. And I like the Area X scenes because Lomax kind of represents us. Mm-hmm. He's asking the questions that, at least for me as the viewer, I was asking for the most part while watching this. And I kind of liked that because it brought us back to like a grounded level for a minute. It's like, we're going to see some crazy mutations and trippy shit. And then, all right, but here's present day Lomax being like, what the fuck is this? You know, like, so I like that. But at the end, he says, why was it here?
Yeah.
You know, what was its motive? And she's saying, I don't think it had it. And that was, wow, Dima.
So much force for no reason.
No, but like, I think she's right when she says, I don't think it knows what it's doing or has a reason. It just exists. And like I said, I think that it's chemistry. It's just natural state changes the environment aimlessly. And that's what I was saying. It's like a blender. It's like anything that is inside of this thing is going to change.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a rhyme or reason. Because at first I'm like, okay, this is an alien that is trying to learn how to duplicate humans. Yeah. That was my first theory. But then I'm like, well, if that's the case, why would it be changing? Because one of the scenes that I got chills out of was when they come across the plants that are shaped like human beings, like adults and children walking. Because, for one, that's just eerie to come across. But then I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, that is just this thing literally changing, like, cells around it. It's just mixing things together. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily, like, driven toward one specific species, or it's just mixing things together.
Well, and I'm reading this thing here that kind of builds off that, and it says, a good way to think of the shimmer is to think of it like a prism. Instead of refracting only light, it refracts DNA, the DNA of plants, animals, humans. This means when DNA enters the shimmer, it's changed, but it can't exist without the original DNA.
Yeah, that's what's wild, though.
Josie actually says something about that in the movie.
Because
she says about, like, we've looked at it as reflecting light, but it's actually like taking all the DNA and doing what we thought it was doing with light.
Yep.
So yeah, that is a good way to look at it, like a prism.
They did a very good job with this.
Screen Rant.
Oh,
that's
shout out to Stephen Colbert.
Yep. But
who wrote that? It'd be funny if it was Stephen.
Molly Freeman.
You're not Stephen Colbert, wherever the camera is.
It's right there, sir.
Yeah.
See, what they did great about with this is, with it being so complicated, they explain things very well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Up until the point of human understanding, this movie is explained.
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. There might be a day where this movie would make more sense than the creators of this film intended.
Yeah.
See, and that's what's funny about it. Like,
my thing about sci-fi movies is science fiction movies are only science fiction because it's not reality yet.
Well, yeah, look at Blade
said
Runner.
that.
Blade Runner was way ahead of its time, especially in the 80s when it came out. But even the recent one with Ryan Gosling, there's stuff going on in that movie, and you're just like, whoa. But 20 years, 30 years, we could have everything that's going on in that movie happening easily.
Exactly.
You know, it's not that far of a reach.
What's that movie?
They're already working on flying cars right now.
Yeah.
They're working on getting certifications and figuring out how to, like, license people to drive flying cars.
Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so,
see, Marvel movies, DC movies.
That's what I mean. When you have a movie that you use, like, real science to back up your story, and then you expand on it in ways that are unexplainable, the chances are high that one day it might be explainable. You know,
iRobot.
And it's a...
With Will Smith.
Yeah, that movie's
came out
a little too real.
19 years ago, but...
I remember my dad took me to the theater to see that, because we were always big Will Smith fans. Yeah. We left, and I remember driving home, he was telling me, Kyle, mark my words, one day the world will be like it is in this movie, and it'll be terrifying. And I was scared. I was young. I was like, oh, I don't want that. Right. You know, I don't want robots running around trying to kill people.
Yeah, no, this I mean, that movie's a perfect example of, like, because at that point in time, it's science fiction, and there's, like, you know, most people where they will speculate, like, yeah, this is going to be reality one day. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say sci-fi is only sci-fi, because it's not reality yet. 20 years later, we're having all this AI stuff coming and being very prominent, and you know, Snapchat AI or
we're gonna talk about
stuff like that.
AI,
so
actually, I got a little thing I want to bring up from our conversations last night, as Jordan and I were getting our own Annihilation. But no, that's what I was saying at the beginning. Like, I think it's really smart to have a movie like this that is so heavily based on real science. But here's what's also really cool for me is I'm watching this movie and I'm like, okay, I don't really understand what's going on. But it is very fascinating to think about how we as humans cannot stand things beyond our comprehension. Like, we can't imagine nothing. We can't picture the universe because it has a beginning and an end, right? No, it doesn't.
oh wait,
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, but we want it to. So we have an issue accepting these things. We just can't comprehend them. And same with a being of any kind existing without purpose, which I believe the antagonist, the Shimmer, I really believe it doesn't have a purpose. Like Jordan said, it hits Earth by that White House in the meteor, smacks the Earth. It's just existing. Like, it's just a 1 in a million chance it's going to hit our planet instead of another one, or land on the moon, or whatever. But it just lands, and it's existing. That's it.
And it's spreading.
Yeah, but I don't think it has a rhyme or reason. And Lomax represents us in terms of humanity, because we can't accept something coming to our planet without a reason.
right.
And then, if it did just accidentally hit our planet, okay, why is it doing what it's doing? We can't comprehend a living, organism or being existing without a rhyme or reason. We just can't. Like, everything has to have purpose. Look at us. We take stupid little fish, like minnows. We're examining them, like, okay, why does it do this? What is it? Who cares? But we do. We have to have, like, an explanation for why everything does what it does.
Which is a fault of humans, I feel like. Maybe not a fault,
It's
but
not
that's
a fault,
one
it's just
thing
how we're
about
wired.
humans. Yeah, the way we're wired versus nature. Any nature. I mean, you have animals out there. You have grass. You have bugs where they just do what's in their DNA. They are just living life. They have no rhyme or reason other than this is what we're supposed to do and this is what I am. Versus, the sun, for example. The sun's just there shining. It has no rhyme. It has no reason. For itself, obviously for us humans, it gives us vitamin D and stuff like that. But for the sun itself, like, it's just there.
Yeah.
And that's all this is.
And do we consider that a living being?
No.
Exactly. But if something exists that is changing cells around us...
It's like they took it personal.
Yeah.
In the movie. They took it very personally.
I think that's a trick of the mind, because that's something else I want to get into. Do we think the Shimmer is alive?
Yes.
Okay. But is that because of something the Shimmer does on its own, or is it because it mimics us, which we are alive?
I would say
what was
it's
it before?
alive because...
What was it before?
See, this is what I mean.
Fine.
It makes you think.
What was it before it was able to mimic us? Like, what was it in
space?
So
it's traveling in space on an asteroid. What's going on before that? What's it doing during?
But the question would remain, is there cells inside of it? Because
there?
every living thing...
When we see inside of it, like, we literally, like, the camera goes up this thing's butthole, and we see her blood come out of her face and trickle inside. Do we see anything in there besides light?
No.
What is light?
That's
Energy.
true.
What's energy? It's not life.
That's true. There's no DNA with energy.
No, it's taking DNA and manipulating it.
That's true.
But Do we have
So no, it's
anything
not
that tells
living.
us the Shimmer is alive?
No, the Shimmer.
That's what I'm saying.
Just
But I was
energy.
with you, Dima. When I was watching the movie, I was like, "Oh, this thing is alive. This thing is trying to do something." Like my brain couldn't allow me to think that this was just something I don't
there.
understand that landed on my planet, and it's changing things without any rhyme or reason. Like I couldn't accept that, and I think that's brilliant on their end as well. That's why this movie is really well done. Like if you think about it,
Yeah, no, it is.
it's a movie that makes you think. There's a lot of good questions that can come out of it. The story's pretty cut and dry, which is why I didn't want to just like do a play-by-play of this movie like we've
Right.
been doing, because in terms of story, it's pretty simple. You got protagonist and her husband.
Yep,
She
cheating
thinks he's
wife.
dead. He comes back. It's not him. She goes to the thing that he went into that changed him, and she finds out that it's alien and it's changing anything that goes into it.
Well,
It's pretty.
yeah, and that's what I think. I think the plot being so simplified like that only,
Complicates it.
well, it only added to the movie's, it only added to your your ability to immerse in it, which is because it was relatable.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
everyone's thinking very cut and dry about it. Like, okay, like you said, there's this thing hitting our planet. It's screwing up the environment. What are we going to do about it? There wasn't really any depth to it or any like method they had of destroying it. They were just sending people into it and hoping for the best.
Now, with this being established, we're establishing that we don't think the Shimmer is alive, correct?
Yep.
Now, there were things shown to us in this movie that I was questioning. And one, I haven't looked up yet because I wanted to see if maybe you guys can answer this. What is the tattoo on Lena'S arm? What is that?
It's like a snake, isn't it, or something like that?
Because I was looking at it as like a cell duplicating. Like in the beginning of the movie when she's teaching her class.
Started out as a bruise or something, didn't it? Or something like that?
I don't know.
Did she have the tattoo the whole movie?
I don't know. See, but here's what I'm going to get at with that while you're looking that up, Dima.
Yes.
When they come across, and again, this is one of those
I think
scenes in the
you're right.
movie that it was like a horror movie. Because they come to that army base where they find out that Kane and those other guys were having a camp, basically. And they find their names, and some of them are scratched out, and they're like trying not to assume the worst of why names were scratched out. And then they find the camera, they watch the video of Kane cutting open the guy's stomach and seeing what looks like a snake slithering around in his stomach. Very disturbing. But then they're exploring and they find the pool. And the pool has like a Stranger Things portal in the deep end. But there's a body sticking out of it.
Yeah, that was
Now, here's what was interesting about that.
Meyer.
The body was sticking out of it up to the waist.
Mayer.
And then up throughout the rest of this, whatever it is,
Torso in the skull.
is the torso, the skull, but the torso has dog tags hanging off of it. The left arm has a watch, and it also has that tattoo on it.
Yeah. Wow.
Why?
That's true. Yeah, it's a snake eating itself
So, was it already
in an infinity.
trying to mimic Lena? Like, was that what we were witnessing right there?
It's odd.
Right? So that's something to think about.
What if like the Lena that we see in the beginning of the movie isn't actually Lena?
Yes! This is what I was wanting to get into. Yes! Yes, 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 yes.
Because if that, I mean,
Isn't
if
that
it,
a mind fuck?
if
Wait,
it can
what?
only duplicate things that it's come into contact with, it's obviously had to have come into contact with Lena. So the Lena that we're introduced to at the beginning.
Do we think
either
that is
isn't-
after the ending of the movie?
Well, hold on. Let me get there for a minute. Because at the ending of the movie, you see
Sorry,
like
sorry.
she gives him a hug, Kane, and in her eyes there's some little shimmer action going on, right? We got a little thing going on in there, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
So either she changed prior to returning to, what's his name? The
Lomax?
Lomax?
Yeah.
Or she was just never Lena to begin with.
Oh.
This is my theory. I'm so glad you picked up on this.
Well, I got a thing on Reddit about the tattoo.
Okay, let's hear it.
Somebody says, in Annihilation, Lena mentions duplicates and echoes, then stares at a tattoo on her left forearm. Later in the movie, we briefly see that the tattoo actually belongs to Anya.
Yeah, okay. That was everything I was going to point out. Anya has that tattoo as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was thinking, because I noticed Anya had that in the scene where she has them all tied up to the chair.
Yeah.
So, in my head, I was like, wait a minute. Did they get these tattoos together? Or like, I was confused, and I was like, wait, did Lena even have that earlier in the movie? Because at this point, I had only seen it in the Area X timeline. So, like, post story of the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did she manipulate in the end of the movie, or was she manipulate? Like, that's where I was trying to, like, it's weird. I don't understand what the point of them both having that tattoo is. Unless...
What if the department gave it to them or something?
Yeah, see, I was wondering that too. But I was also wondering if it was her and Anya being mixed together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you see any, like, tattoo significance in Reddit?
Sorry, sir. Let me get back to that.
But, yeah, that tattoo definitely has an importance.
Pull it up there.
Oh.
What?
Hope they film the other 2 books.
Well, that's something I was going to get into, because this is an adaptation of the book.
Right.
Which is written by Jeff Vandermeer. Never heard of him, but this book has a lot of praise.
Yeah, I might actually read this. This is really driving me insane, this laptop right now. Sign in. I'm already signed in.
Alright guys, so we're looking up on Reddit any theories or explanations behind the tattoo. Just to see if we can get some insight on what's going on here. Because I actually just tried to watch this movie and enjoy it. And yeah, I was taking notes, but I didn't want to take time to Google anything. Or I just wanted to see if the movie would explain it enough. And maybe it did. There's a lot to ingest with this movie. So... Says, earlier Lena mentions to Shepard that she's getting a bruise in the exact location. This could be the formation of Anya's tattoo on her arm, the duplicate. See, that's what I mean. It's changing her cells to duplicate. Like I said, it's like a blender. You throw something in it, it's just going to mix what's around.
Right.
You know, that's kind of what I was thinking. Suggesting Lena was the... Okay. So... Yeah, see, there it is, clear as day. They both have that tattoo.
Yeah, that's the picture I see.
Yeah. Now, here's the other one that's very interesting to me, and I want to see what you guys think. Because I think I've got it explained already in the movie. Because this movie does kind of explain how things can happen by science. Because at the end of the movie, we see the blood come out of Lena's face, go into the shimmer, and it takes this humanoid shape that mimics her, and then starts to change into her slowly but surely before she gives it a phosphorus grade. But we see how it works. You know, it's basically explained to us, you put ink in the printer starts printing.
Yeah.
Do we think that Josie, who we learn has a history of cutting herself, started cutting herself in between scenes, and it wasn't shown to us. But her blood leaving her body and going into the shimmer, which is just around them, is why she turned into a plant. Her blood connected with it, and she mutated with what was around her. Because I was really confused by plants just growing out of her arms randomly, and she walks away, and then she just becomes another one of the plant people. I was like, oh, that's how she ends? That's it?
Yeah.
It was weird.
That's so interesting.
But then I started... No. Josie's the one that cuts her arms. And she walks away, like she's got the plants growing out of her arm.
I don't remember that.
The bear is Shepherd.
Yeah.
Shepherd is the kind of like other older woman with them.
Right, but wasn't Shepard and somebody else killed by the bear?
No. Oh. Well, technically, Anya.
Oh, Anya. Okay.
Because Anya has them tied up, but then,
so Anya was the doctor.
And that was what was so dude. This movie has so many like horror moments, and that was the other one. When they hear what they think is Shepard's yelling, and Anya goes running.
That was so cool though.
And then the bear comes in, and it's like breathing, and you can hear like human voices coming out of the exhale. I was like, that was some good A24 right there.
I thought this was A24.
No.
I had to really look it up and
well, that's what's interesting is Alex usually works with them, and this movie definitely has that A24 vibe.
No,
yeah.
The A24 vibe for me was when Lena is fighting the thing that was like at the end.
Yes. Which we're gonna talk about that in detail here in a second.
It's kind of hard.
But no, so Josie is the other one who's tied up next to Lena. She's on her right-hand side.
Yep. Okay.
So she has like a history of cutting herself.
Right.
And like she basically says, I know Dr. Ventress is in here because she has cancer. I know you're in here because of your husband. Yeah. One of you is wanting to die. One of you is wanting to move on. And she's like, I don't want to do either.
Yes.
And then she starts walking away.
Yes.
So that's what I'm talking about. Like, she starts having plants growing out of her, cuts in her arm.
Okay, yeah.
And at first I was, like, really confused. But then after the end of the movie, I was thinking about it again. And I was like, maybe she was cutting herself because she was, like, freaking out one night. Like, she went outside and started cutting herself because that's what she does. Like, she's trying to feel alive. And her blood leaving her body was like what we see with Lena later, where, like I said, she's putting ink in the printer. The printer is putting out. Like, it's changing her with what was around her at the time of bleeding.
Yes.
But it gave me chills that she just totally becomes a plant being. Like, it's not like she's part human anymore. Like, Lena walks through the bushes, and it's just like, oh, she's just one of these plant people now. Like, it's very weird.
Yeah, that really confused me. I had to rewind it and like really figure out what
happened. I did too. I rewound it. I was like,
so
did I miss something here? I guess she's just a plant person.
And I don't think Lena had the tattoo in the beginning.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Because it is the bruise. Because I remember her saying something about a bruise.
All right, so we have confirmed that. Yeah, it's a change machine.
It is.
It's a change machine. Now,
but it's so fascinating.
Getting to the shimmer. First off, Kane. I'm gonna really break down the lighthouse things. I love this. It is all just so A24'd.
It is.
So we see Kane on the second cam footage, found cam footage. She's watching it, reviewing it. A shot that gave me chills, like the shot in Signs when the alien walks by, is we see him looking in the camera all crazed and shit, and then we see like random stuff, and then there's just a shot of the fucking hole in the wall, and you just see that being doing what I'm assuming it does with Lena later. It's taking humanoid shape. Yeah. It's in the process of becoming Kane.
It also gave me like the vibe in Signs where it's like here it is, look.
Oh,
and
dude!
It's like there's the alien figure.
Yeah, it gave me chills. It was so quick, but I was like, "Ooh, shit, man!" Then him sitting down with the phosphorus grenade.
Yeah.
But he's talking to somebody, and in the shot, I love the way they filmed this because we think he's by himself, but there's two shadows.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, is this like light being fucked with, or like what's going on here? But then when you see Kane's duplicate step forward, he just turns back and looks at the camera. I was like, oh, fuck me, man.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah. This is what we're doing. It's like, copy that. Fuck me.
That was terrifying.
Gave me chills. Because that was like, yeah, okay. That guy that came out of this, that ain't my Kane. But his death, man, the way he just, like, blows up into light. Oh, yeah. But here's what's interesting, just a little bit of symbolism. That is literally what happens to Ventress when she's in the hole. She blows up into a ball of light. So, it's very interesting. Now, so she watches this, and then she's at fuck it at this point. So, what's she gonna do? She's gonna climb into the hole. And here is something I could not figure out. I don't know if it was lighting or what, or if this was intentional. When we see her coming in and we hear a girl talking, and then it cuts to a figure that resembles Ventress sitting Indian style, kind of talking to herself. The face looked like the being from Under the Skin. It is just black, flat, no distinctive features, and I was really creeped out. But then when she says, Dr. Ventress, and she like turns around and it's her face, I'm like, wait, was I just seeing things or like...
No, I saw that too.
And I don't know...
I think it was the thing though.
Yeah, so I think it was still changing into her, I think. And it like finished up just in time to turn around and reveal herself.
Yeah.
But it was really creepy. Like the way it just had her hair and clothing, but it was just like a black figure. Yeah. Oh. And it was really cool because we see this being kind of like has a interesting way of absorbing light around it. Like it doesn't necessarily reflect light, but it kind of like absorbs it and it changes into like it's almost like an oil slick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just looks very like oily and has like a spectrum of just all these colors meshing together, and I don't know. It's pretty cool, but it was in a shadowy corner, so it made sense that it was just black, but it was to me a tip to Under the Skin, like hey. But, so yeah, that was crazy. And then even though they showed more of it than I thought they would, I didn't feel like it was too much. That whole scene between Lena and the Shimmer is just terrifying.
It was very creepy.
It's just this emotionless being doing things. And we have nothing from it to tell us what its mindset is, if it has one, or, you know, because at this point I'm still thinking, like, this is a living being.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ugh, you know, like, God, man.
I told you, man.
Because it just moves like her. But then when she tries to run away, it comes after her. I'm like, oh, God, okay, it's not just copying her. It's like...
And it clearly did something to her when it pushed her up against the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little confused about that.
Well, I think it was literally on her, and it was changing her faster.
Oh.
Because we saw
like
how,
absorbing
like...
her energy.
Yeah. Because we saw how, like, when the blood was in it, it went from, like, kind of changing to, like static,
Obsessive.
Like changing really fast. So it's like, just like the movie shows us, the closer they get to the White House, the more things are changing, or the more things are mutated and weird. Like, we got crystal trees by the White House. We've got skeletons sticking out of the ground like they're growing out of the ground. It's weird, you know, but... So I think with it being on her, it was probably changing her so much that she literally, like, organically was incapacitated from being overwhelmed. Yeah. Is how I was looking at it. Because it didn't physically do anything besides just hold her up against the door.
Right.
But what was weird is after it does that, it falls with her.
Yeah.
Like, it's still mimicking her.
The same way she falls.
Yeah. And I think at that point, it connected with her mentally. And I'm just now thinking of this, but when they're getting up, they aren't facing each other. But it's still mimicking her. Yeah. So it's like they're connected in the brain at this point. So maybe that's what it was doing, was like changing or connecting with her brain. I don't know. It's so crazy. But my theory is what Jordan said earlier. I think that she is not herself, at least at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah, definitely at the end of the movie.
And I questioned if the whole movie she was ever herself.
Yeah.
Like, I was questioning, like, if the version of her we saw when it started, other than, like, and this is why I have it split timelines, other than the prequel timeline, was ever actually her.
Yeah.
Like, did we start with a mimic of her?
So do we think in that case, when it had her pushed against the wall, it somehow possibly took her conscience and its consciousness and switched them? So in reality, she's the one who ended up burning. And that thing is the...
I don't know, because that, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the ending in terms of how it's annihilated, the shimmer, confuses me. Because I don't understand how we see anything and everything that was mutated or grew from its presence on Earth mimics the fire, right? Like, that makes sense. The science behind that makes sense to me. Why would beings that were created by it outside of the shimmer still be?
Not only that, but they got better.
Yeah, why is Cain okay after the event of the shimmer building? Like, I'm really confused by that, and I'm sure there is an explanation. I just don't know what it is. Because like Jordan said, there's emphasis when they hug. Like, she clarifies, like, you're not Cain, and he's like, I don't think so. And then they hug, and I'm like,
creepy.
Yeah, but they hug after. He's like, "Are you the Lena?" or something like that. And then that's when they hug.
Yeah.
So it's like they knew already. And then, like you mentioned earlier, that shimmer in the eye was the exact same one where it changed the colors.
it's like they know they both aren't who they are mimicking, so they can be together because they're from the same place.
Right.
So that's what's interesting. Because besides my confusion about the burning of the shimmer, it's pretty fascinating to take something that isn't alive but can mimic life to a degree of it does become life, right? Because we interpret life as having a physical representation, right?
Right.
Life breathes, life makes decisions, life has motivations, life does things. So if I see you sitting here doing things, I'm like, yeah, Dima's alive. Do I know that you weren't created from something that wasn't alive that can just mimic things? Yeah. No.
Right.
Do you know that? No. And that's what Alex Garland has done so well, like with what's that? I always forget its name. Ex Machina or whatever.
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina, thank you. That movie's the same thing. He creates androids that he literally creates the programming for, and his whole objective is to create a software that is self-aware, or that can convince you that it is self-aware, which that makes you question the definition of self-awareness, right? Because if something can be self-aware or can convince you that it's self-aware, what is the difference? Yeah. And then if that same thing can put on a human skin, walk out into the world, wear shoes and a dress, and walk the streets, why is it not human? It makes you question the definition of things. And this movie does that same thing. What is life if life can be something that isn't alive, but it can be mimicked to a point to where we don't know it's not alive?
Yes.
You know,
that's what's so creepy about this movie.
It's brilliant though. Like, that's why I am a fan of Alex Garland. Like, I'm realizing that the dude's on to something, because he makes you just question these things that we are so comfortable with accepting without thinking about, you know. And I don't know. It just creates really good conversation. Like, even in my own head, like when this movie was done, I was just like, this movie is just tackling so much. So, like, even though it has such a simple, like, storyline in terms of, like, this broken marriage and whatever, and then, okay, yeah, there's something paranormal going on, it's so deep when you really think about it. It's got some really deep themes and elements, and without just directly questioning these things, it has a great way of narratively setting up the question to make you think about it later. So, that's why this movie is really good, in my opinion. But it really does make me think about like our definition of a living being.
Yeah.
Because if energy could duplicate life to make us think it is life, is it not life?
Yes.
It's crazy, man. It almost makes me mad. Like, why do you create these questions? God.
I think we kind of glossed over that bear a little too quickly. Just like from a creative standpoint.
All of
the
the
face
mutations
of it-
were very creepy. Even the deer.
Yeah.
The
Like-
deer were very like skinny and narrow, and they
Yes.
had plants growing off their tree branch antlers.
Yeah.
And one deer almost looked zombie-like,
Yeah.
and it made me think that was
But so did the bear.
yeah. But one deer was perfect and
Yes.
and pristine. But like Jordan said, they moved in unison. So that to me meant one of them was a real mutation.
Yeah.
The other one was the shimmer trying to become that mutation,
copy.
which is trippy in itself. It's like, okay, so this thing
Pull that picture up.
of the bear.
No, the just Annihilation deer.
Okay.
Because I think you're probably right about. There's one that has to have been the mutated version.
Yeah, the one in the back is mutated.
Dude, I swear Google's such a pain in the ass. I gotta click a million things to get something big. Dude.
Google kind of sucks. Weren't you using Yahoo?
Okay. Well, that's still kind of ass, but
I gotta put my headache up glasses.
kind of like zoom in or.
Well, full screen the page.
You two
top
finger that
left.
bitch.
That's fine.
Oh
That'll
wait,
do.
never mind. You
It's
got that.
Just do this.
just very hateful
Excellent.
looking.
Oh god, that's still.
All right, whatever. Anyways. But yeah, look how one of the antlers is like dead tree branches, and the other one's got like
Full life.
yeah. But they're in the same posture. They move the same.
Can you imagine observing something like this as
No.
a scientist?
Nope.
Like trying to determine, like, these people, you know, they all have their own special ability. You know, one's a paramedic, one's a psychiatrist, one's like a biologist.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine the undertaking it is to be like put in the situation of, all right, hey, you've been chosen to try and figure out what this is.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but like you don't know what it's gonna do because it's not like you can just assume this is like deer that I'm used to. This could be like a carnivorous deer. It could fly maybe. You don't know. You know, like we don't know what the hell we're dealing with right now. Let's look at this bear because Demon's right. That bear is a masterpiece.
Dude, I mean the fact that even though
They have a poster with its mouth for this movie. I wish I would have used that for the artwork.
that blue one right there is pretty
Yeah.
good.
That's oh my god, that's terrifying, dude. It's like some Resident Evil shit.
But that's the
That's
thing.
what
Yeah.
I want. HD.
It's like it's got that eye, but the eye doesn't mean shit. It's zombified.
Look at the teeth up in the top right.
Yeah, it's like human. That's a human skull right here. Look. Here's the
Oh, it
left
is.
eyeball. Here's the right eyeball. Here's the nose.
Oh shit, I never noticed that.
Look at the teeth in the mouth.
It's a
Look,
tusk.
This
Teeth.
is like the lower set of teeth for this jaw.
Look, there's a big old tooth on the left side too.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like it's almost like a bat and uses echolocation because
Well,
unless
look at
they
its ears.
reacted.
It has bat ears.
Oh, is that what those are?
Yeah, those are bat ears.
Oh.
Those aren't bear ears.
Well, I knew they
so
were
you're
bear,
right, yeah,
but,
you're right on the money with that.
like is echolocation.
What's crazy is there. It almost looks like there's eyes around the nose as well,
Yeah.
or like a skull, like a fish skull or something.
it's like a piranha.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there was another row of teeth in the throat in the back.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Like when they zoom in on it talking, or the voice coming out of its throat. But yeah, the design of this bear is absolutely amazing. Oh, they got like,
Like a broken down version. Oh, that really
that's what I was kind of wanting to see is like concept art. Yeah, just fucking show me what I'm. No, that's not what I wanted to see.
4, 3, 2, 1.
There we go.
Thank you.
Oh boy.
Dude, that is fucking wild.
Now that's something. That's terrifying. So, I mean, this movie's got its horror elements. This looks like teeth coming in over here almost.
It does. Like fucking wisdom teeth popping through.
What do you think about that, old Dima?
I love it. Like that entire bear scene inside the house. I need to figure out.
Well, it was so well done because the way it just comes like walking down the hallway and you see its shadow first, and they're trying to stay calm, which that's a good example of what I was saying with the deer. She's using her knowledge of what we know with the species on Earth that we are aware of.
Yes.
With bears, everyone's supposed to know that if one is near you, you stand still. You don't move. You don't run away. That causes them to attack you. So she's using that knowledge, but you can't assume that this being is going to act the same, right?
Right.
So it's a gamble. And that's what I'm saying. Like, these mutations, you don't know what they're going to do.
Exactly.
What the hell? But, there's Josie. Yeah, those are definitely bat ears. Wow, man. That's crazy. Yeah, the bear was something else. But, yeah, I mean, near the beginning of when they walk in to the Shimmer and they see the flowers, and she says, like, these are all on the same branch, that's where I was like, okay, this movie's got to have something crazy going on. But I did not think it was going to be to this extent.
No, I think the best part about this was... Oh, that is wild.
So I have two negatives I do want to cover really quick. Because
Bear was like a puppet.
I didn't have a lot of negatives. That's pretty common nowadays with anything CGI. Like Thanos, they had his head on a stick, and then they like built off of it in CGI. First negative, I wrote in my notes that they walk into the Shimmer looking like Ghostbusters.
I have something with that as well.
How come we see Lomax and the rest of the scientists on base are wearing like fucking level 10 hazmat suits?
PPE.
But they literally go walking into the shit.
That is exactly what I wrote down.
Yeah, like without any protective gear. Like they literally look like Ghostbusters. They're wearing fucking garbage guy jumpsuits, backpacks, and they got guns.
Yes.
What? That just tells me they all wanted to die. Like they didn't have any like consideration for their own well-being going into this. So that kind of tells you that like
It was a suicide mission.
Everyone did have a motive that was like, fuck it, I'm okay with dying. Whatever it was. That tells you that right there. Because I don't know, I was like, how are you not gonna wear a helmet? I'm like, look, dude, this is what they fucking look like walking into the Shimmer. Like, hello?
Yeah, I was very confused about...
Is everyone that went missing in here still here? You can leave.
It doesn't make sense that, like you said, I mean, like I showed you, I had that exact same thing wrote down. I'm like, why are they in, like, freaking the most extreme PPE, but they're sending people just to be around these people who came back from it, allegedly.
Yeah.
But then they're sending people in it looking like that. Like, just nothing. The face, hands were covered, or not covered. They're pretty much in a t-shirt and shorts, it seemed like. Like, they weren't protected at all, and I don't understand how you change that so drastically. I feel like that was a flaw. There might be a reason why they did that, like, when they sent them in, they wanted them to die. It's like they were sacrificing the people to the Shimmer to hopefully get it to stop spreading, but it was backfiring. But even then, like, I don't understand why either that or it was like a flaw in the writing.
Well, I've thought that, but like I said, I think it's just a way to tell you as the viewer that no matter what it is, because like I said, a big theme in this is everyone trying to figure out why everyone else wants to go into this, right?
Yes.
Like, why are people voluntarily going into this thing knowing that you don't come out?
Yeah.
So I think that's like a way to show you in a physical manifestation that there is a willingness to die.
Yes.
You know, like there isn't any consideration for their own well-being. They all have motives, whatever it is, to where they're okay with this being the end.
Right.
And they all have a subtle curiosity, to say the least, to know what's going on in here.
All right.
Would you guys go into it?
No,
Yes.
no.
Maybe.
Nope.
Well, like that, no.
Knowing what they know, no. Not, and I'm not talking about like throughout the story, but like before they go into the Shimmer, just knowing what they know, I would not go into it.
What about being the first people to enter into it? Would you guys?
Maybe
I'm
I
going to
wouldn't
say
go into
no
it.
to that as well. If I were a single man, yeah. But knowing I have somebody that wants me to come home every day, nah.
And just to like go in there,
Like, do
for
I have
no
a
reason,
curiosity?
really?
Oh, for sure. But
Is your curiosity to the point where you would go in?
no. I can tell you right now I wouldn't. I would honestly be pretty scared. Like, if something lands on this planet and can create an event like that, where it's just kind of slowly and eerily spreading and getting bigger, it's like, oh, okay, like I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, after watching that, maybe not. Like, they're saying that that face is her. I feel like.
Shepard?
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, it
I
did
didn't
eat her, and then it's speaking her voice.
Right.
Oh, that brings me to my other negative. Because this is really it. I only had 2 negatives in this movie. And I do think this is just stupid writing unless you guys understand something that I'm missing. When they're looking for Shepard after the bear takes her,
Yes.
they come across her shit and they're like, oh, okay, we're getting close. Why does Lena go by herself?
I don't know.
And then like she finds her body, comes back, and she's like, yeah, she's dead. And then that later sets up Anya to be like, you were the only one who saw her, how I can trust you? I'm like, okay, that was like lazy writing to set up Anya not trusting Lena. Like, what was the reason for her like, hey guys, let's split up, I'll go this way? Like, that kind of bothered me. Unless there was something I'm missing, it was just really unnecessary.
I almost feel like that her being military and having that experience, possibly being deployed and seeing some shit that way, this is reaching. I feel like it was one of those where she was like, hang back, I'm gonna go look just in case if it's bad. I don't want y'all to see.
Oh,
kinda,
like she could tell by the evidence
Yeah.
that chances were likely she was
Yeah.
dead, and what she would find would not be
yeah,
something that people would want to see.
right, especially how close they were with her. But like I said, like
That's fair, but at this point in the
Stretched.
movie, they have literally seen a guy cutting open another guy,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
but-
they've seen some pretty fucked up shit.
No, that's true, but at the end of the day, those were people that they didn't know personally, more likely than not.
That's fair.
She was somebody that they knew very well.
That's fair. Okay, I'll give you that. It still just
it's
bothered
just-
me because I felt like they did that just so they could give Anya a reason to not trust. Because that was it. That was literally all she had on Lena, to not trust her. And it's like, okay. But, that's fair, I guess.
That was wild, though. Like, that entire scene, I almost want to say cabin scene, but it was a house. Just, that whole scene was very, very well put together, though, other than, her not trusting her because she's a untrusting piece of shit. But she ties them up, and then she assumes that she's lying about homegirl. And she's like, I saw her, she's dead. And she's like, the bear is mimicking the voice, which I didn't expect. I was like, I know she's dead. I'm like, but what's that voice? And then we saw the shadow of the bear. That whole thing was very well put together because they didn't just jump right into it. They let the shadow be the first thing you saw after she leaves and they hear the growl.
Yeah.
And then, from there, I thought it was just great. And then she comes back, tries to kill the bear, and then the bear just fucks her up. But it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I overlooked that, though. I didn't consider that at all.
That's just me being nitpicky. I always have to find something. I just want to end with, at least when it comes to talking about this movie, just saying that I'm very excited to see, because this came out in 2018, and let me actually check right now before I say something I'm completely wrong about. I don't feel like this guy puts out a lot of movies. What? Did he do the Dawn of the... He did Men?
Never seen it.
Oh my gosh.
That's a movie Kyle and I watched.
He did do 28 Days Later. Okay.
Very
That's
strange.
funny. That's a good OG Cillian Murphy movie for you guys.
Love Cillian Murphy.
Wow. He wrote it too. That is his monster piece.
You know what was really a masterpiece was Beau is Afraid.
Dude, he sent me he commented on a video someone made about how Beau is Afraid is a sleeper hit. And someone commented saying, like, it's a masterpiece. I was like,
God, wrong.
Get the fuck out
No,
of
it's
here.
not.
Do you think it is?
No, I thought it was absolute trash.
Okay, so I was going to be right about this. He has only directed 5 movies.
Oh, that was produced.
So, no, he did a TV miniseries. So Men is his last... Okay, so he's really only done 3 movies. Which, I can say, I'm a fan of all 3 of his movies. Dima, I'm going to tell you right now, though, Men is fucking weird.
You watched that one from beginning to end?
Yes. Dima, what happens in Beau is Afraid when he goes up in that attic? What's he see up there?
He's a big old cock just squirming around with his...
You might see the opposite in Men. You might.
It's a big old...
Big old taco.
salami curtain.
No, but it's actually, like, very disturbing. It's not like, ew, what the fuck was that? Dude, I'm telling you, Men, that's one you need to watch one night when you're just feeling kind of weird and you want to get a little adventurous with your movie experience.
On Showtime. Oh, I got this. Good. I'll watch it. Actually.
It has scenes in it that are terrifying.
Oh, shit.
It is a good A24 movie.
Horror drama.
It is a really good A24
I just
movie.
came across it, man.
It's DNA Films.
I will say, and you'll see this when you start watching, but it was in the trailers.
Yeah.
One of the creepiest shots is still the tunnel scene for me.
Yeah. Where he's just... Doesn't he start, like, running?
Running toward... And she's just like, what the fuck? Yeah. That damn tunnel scene. But we'll talk about that one later, Dean. We'll let you watch that movie.
I'll watch it for you, Jordan.
We gotta do another A24 movie.
Is it an A24?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Men is. I meant another one versus, like...
Have you seen Lamb?
Not yet. It's on my watch list.
Yeah, I just wonder
seen
what's going on with that
Lamb.
watch list, to be honest with you.
I haven't seen...
It's got a lot of shit on it, is what's going on. I tried to sit down and watch movies, and then I got this friend Jordan who's like, "Go, won't you come on, get out of the house tonight? Bring your old girl. Let's do something stupid and illegal."
Dima was at a fair. Ate food that fucked his stomach.
I literally ate the most shit yesterday because Abby and I determined we were gonna stay in and be bums. We wanted a day in.
Yeah, no, Jordan.
I
I don't
had-
let Abby do that.
I had donuts. I had an entire pizza. I ate 4 hot dogs. Dude, I was loaded. Oh, and an ice cream bar. And I sat down ready to fucking watch this movie. 5 minutes into it. You already know who was ringing.
Go. Dima's already ditching us tonight because he's got private
And it was a
commitments.
FaceTime from me and Cody.
Yeah, him and Cody were blowing me up. It was...
Is that what the group chat thing was? Those
Yeah.
It
calls?
got bad.
What? Hey, don't we all have iPhones?
It got bad.
It got bad, Dima.
Oh my god. I felt that thing
Cody
buzzing. I
needed
was
you
like,
to
what the-
answer.
He
He wanted to have evidence that you ignored him.
No, I did not ignore him.
You did not answer that call.
I could not answer
I didn't
that
answer
call.
it either. He called me out on that. So, Cody thinks that we hate him and that when he has something, even if we show up and have a good time, he's going to think we didn't have fun. Because that's what's currently happening right now. He thinks we didn't have fun. He thinks we're never going to hang out again. Even though it was a blast. But anyways. I want to talk about AI. Do you guys think it's a mistake?
Yes. So does Elon Musk.
Dude, just
No, come on, Jordan. Is it a mistake?
no.
Really?
Even Elon Musk says it is.
No, it's fine. Nothing's gonna happen.
Okay. I think it's a mistake.
I think it's going to go really bad real quick.
A lot of people say it
Movies.
shouldn't have left the sandbox. I say it shouldn't have ever even been in a sandbox.
I think unless if you're creating an astromech or a... oh, man. Wow, I'm dropping the ball. Yep.
I love it.
Translator droid, like, C-3PO, R2-D2,
Oh,
astromech.
okay,
Like, you bring those droids, I'm all for it.
But
Protocol
even
droid.
Star
Protocol,
Wars,
thank you.
even Star Wars doesn't have AI to the level that we do
No, it
right
doesn't.
now. It's terrifying.
Dima, why does Darth Sidious attack in that?
Jordan, we will get into that whenever we're talking about episode 3.
Can I be honest with you guys? I really want to do the Star Wars stuff still. I don't want to do episode 2.
I'll do it by myself. I'll sit down and film it.
I feel like I'm a bad host if I'm not on the episode, though. Can I sit here and just, talk shit the whole time, though?
I don't care.
Or will you get all defensive?
I'll probably get a little defensive.
Because, it'll start
but not like...
with the scroller,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm going to be like, oh.
Yeah, but I'm sure I'm going to agree with you on certain things.
And then I would hit pause and be like, Dima, explain that. Before we even see a scene, just the text on the screen. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking AIDS.
Yeah, no,
This movie's stupid.
very excited to jump into that.
If it was Phantom Menace and then episode 3, if we just didn't have episode 2 at all, I'd be perfectly happy.
Skywalker story.
I would just accept what I accepted with the first 3. Oh yeah, Darth Vader, he was once a person. He was young once.
Why didn't Obi-Wan dash through the door?
Oh god, dude.
Dash through the door.
That's in Phantom Menace.
Oh, the red beams?
No, but episode 2 is full of those questions for me.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of half-ass shit just to make the story work. The CGI... Dude, I swear on everything. The CGI is worse than the freaking graphics for the video game.
No,
of
the
that
CGI
movie.
was a little rough.
You put in the PlayStation 1 version of that game,
That's
the
probably
graphics
a lot
look
better.
better than
Yeah.
the
No, I
CGI in
believe
the
it.
fucking movie.
Here's the thing with Star Wars is they made cuts where cuts should not have been made because it wouldn't the cuts that they made were very just great storyline, but they cut it, and I'm like, okay,
Well, regardless, so yeah, guys, we'll definitely be doing more Star Wars movies. We just got to get through a stupid one first. There's a possibility we'll have a special guest for Star Wars movies. Still working on that, but
Matthew Jones.
no, Matthew will definitely be on more episodes. But Connor, Abby's friend's husband. Not only is he a Star Wars fan, but he is a cigar enthusiast.
Cigars.
Yes.
Well, it's not.
What was that?
Jordan's big old stogies that he buys.
Yeah, well, what was the second one? Like a roach?
Yeah.
You picked that up off the sidewalk? Oh, man, scored.
That was one of those black and miles.
Previously smoked.
Previously.
That's right. I need that footage of when Dima said something. I'm just like,
Oh, yeah. What was the word you were saying?
There's been too many times.
It wasn't anonymously, but it was something like that. And you were like, anonymously.
I can't say big words.
I love the way it's filmed because, I kind of just, look at Jordan, and he's looking at me, and he just goes...
Big words, Jordan.
Alright, I gotta go get my hair cut.
That's how we're ending this.
Yeah, he's got to get a haircut, dude.
I'll give you a haircut. I got trimmers.
Oh, I want to see if that was what I was going to get into. I want to see if he has any movies in the works. There's a way to do that. Oh,
Is he okay?
Yeah, that's what I was literally just thinking. Like, is he good or?
Okay, Dima, that's enough. We hear you.
Choking on chocolate.
We hear you, Dima.
Oh, upcoming.
It's a love story, isn't it?
That's a TV series.
I thought it might be like a
Movie's upcoming. Jordan.
love story or something like that.
Well, I'm hoping he'll do another banger here in a couple years. Because, I mean, it looks like 2014, 18, like every 4 years he's going to put out something. So,
Except for that was 12 years later.
what, 28 days later?
Yeah. 12
Oh.
years before X.
I wish I would have gotten to watch Annihilation one more time before we did the podcast today.
You didn't?
Oh, Dima.
Oh, wow.
I
all
was
based
very
on-
busy last night.
That you were. Don't worry. I watched it this morning. Watched the last 55 minutes of it this morning.
I like Oscar Isaac.
Yes.
I didn't say that earlier,
I
but
like how he just looks like this.
yeah.
He played that role very well.
Well,
I mean, he's a hell of an actor anyway, but he
Is
does a
he?
good job with it. I like it. I think he does a good job.
Okay.
Do you not?
this movie gives us Wong interviewing Lady Thor, who is married to.
Fucking
Moon
Poe
Knight.
Dame. Oh,
What were you gonna say?
Poe from.
Yeah, Poe. That's
Star Wars
what I
Episode
know
7.
him from.
But I was in Marvel, Demon, not
Oh, yeah,
Star
you're right, you're
Wars.
right.
Oh my gosh.
Midnight.
That
That was a good one.
was a good one. All right, guys. Well, this has been our review, discussion, breakdown, whatever of Annihilation. Very good movie. I'm glad Jordan got us to watch it.
That's right. It's a good movie because I recommended it.
It is. And
Jordan.
the next one we're going to do is going to be Dima's recommendation. So this should be...
Jordan's gonna hate it. Kyle's gonna enjoy it. Jordan's gonna hate it.
What is it?
I don't know. I'll let y'all know. Because I want to find one that's like I'm
It's
jonesing
just gonna be
for it.
superheroed and like Spider-Man.
No, that's the rule. It can't be.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna.
It can't be Marvel or DC.
It's gonna be action. It's definitely gonna be an action-packed movie.
John Wick 20.
I swear, if there was another one, you guys would be like first in line to watch it.
I haven't seen
Jordan
any of
would
those
be
in
sweet.
theaters.
Why did we do that?
Why
It
did
was
you
for
want to
Matt,
watch
dude.
two?
It was for your director.
Hey, your director.
That was like, dude,
It was too much.
it was dumb.
We're never doing those long bangers again. I know I've said
One
that
at a time.
before, but we're definitely not now.
I enjoyed it.
We did it for Matt. We got it out of the way. We're done.
I feel like we
Please.
forgot a lot.
Dude, we've been doing this for an hour and a half, and this is so much better.
We had it on
That's
at
it?
work the other day, and I asked
We
someone
got like
to
3
turn it
hours to
off.
go. Did you really?
Yeah.
What they say?
Okay.
Oh, they didn't ask why or anything.
No, it was just like it was on the TV. Like there's TVs where I work, and it was playing on there, and I was like, "Can you
Naturally.
turn that off immediately?"
It is definitely a series. They should have made the first one and stopped.
Yeah.
But it made so much money, they had to keep going. That's how Hollywood
The worst thing I've
I
ever
don't
seen.
blame him. I would have. At least one more.
But you're right, Jordan. I will watch it when it's streaming. I won't go see it in theaters.
No.
There's too many movies coming out in theaters. I can't spend that much money.
Hey, Jordan, are we gonna watch Blue Beetle?
What's that? What's Blue Beetle?
DC movie?
No. I'm 25 years old.
But he's a kid.
Oh.
It's funny. He's got high school drama.
I'm
And a
25.
superhero.
He's got a beetle that infects him and he turns into a superhero.
Nah, dude, I would sign up.
It's got
for that
George
real
Lopez as his weird,
George
weird
Lopez.
uncle. He's funny.
He's still alive.
Okay.
This is going to be a clip on TikTok. This right here.
quick. I'm not going to lie. Until I saw the trailer for that, I was thinking the same thing. I just haven't heard anything about him in such a long time.
Dude, the last I saw of him was the reruns of his show on Nickelodeon at night when I was in high school. And that was like 30 years ago. So, yeah, I thought he was
Yeah, dude, I was still
not
in the orphanage.
expired, but retired. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in as always. We hope you enjoyed our jargon.
Yes.
If you want us to tackle something we haven't talked about doing or that you think we just wouldn't do, let us know. Hit us up. As always, hit the subscribe or follow, whatever button's on the page that you're on right now. And of course, the thumb on hand, whether it's up or down. We don't really care. And then buy merch. There's merch. Click the link.
I don't even have our merch.
It's in the works. Big things in the works, Jordan. You know,
Yeah, come on,
in
Jordan.
the works.
Yeah.
Anyways,
When's the cartoon coming? There's a cartoon coming that Kyle
Okay,
is
yeah.
pushing
Thanks for
away.
ruining that.
we have a whole first season of the cartoon. It's coming.
Yeah, it's been coming for a while.
Jordan couldn't just let it be a surprise.
It's in the works.
It's in the works. Jordan.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next time.